uh, for a lack of good word, deal with them, work with them. And to be honest, I never had a perfect answer, or I never had that answer that they wanted from me. But today we have someone who's an expert in this and will help us get or find answers to it. वो हमें help करेंगे कि हम इन सवालों के जवाब ढूंढ सके और हम उन जवाबों तक पहुंच सके शायद जो हमें चाहिए. Um, with us today we have Nupur Junjunwala ji. She is co-founder of Change Inc. and a public policy strategist with over 25 years of experience in inclusive development. Grounded in her lived experience as a parent of a neurodivergent child, she brings an authentic accessibility first lens to every policy goal. Over the past decade, Nupuji has served across key Indian ministries, playing pivotal roles in shaping the National Education Policy 2020, driving the I Wear Handloom movement, and expanding digital inclusion through common services centers. She also serves as advisor to the Ministry of Women and Child Development and regularly collaborates with UN global agencies and Ashoka universities. It's a pleasure having you here, Nupur ma'am. Welcome and handing it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be invited to speak to you all. I would like to thank my friend and soul sister Neha for making this happen. We've been talking about the work you all do, which is very, very difficult, and I acknowledge it. So thank you for all that you all do, and I hope that if nothing else, we can change the way a little bit the conversation on education that we've been having, one person at a time. Um, Utsav, thank you for the introduction. That was very kind. My most important identity is I'm a parent of 3 children. All three I'm ready to set up for adoption at the end of the day. Neha's laughing because she knows our household. The oldest being 26, the youngest being 18. And as teachers, I know we all are the most criticized and most accountable set of people within organizations for success of our children more than parents. And I know how difficult it is because with my 3 kids, I want to set them up for adoption at the end of each day. And you all work in classrooms that are filled, under-resourced, doing the best you can. So thank you for all that you all do and all the people in the system who work to strengthen the future of our children. Um, 2 of my 3 children are are on the neurodiversity spectrum. My daughter is dyslexic, has specific learning disabilities, and we'll talk about that. And my son has ADHD. So, Utsav, can you put on share the.
Nupur, not many people also know about changing, maybe or a little bit about.
I'll go through
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you.
I'll embed that. I have a few ground rules in these presentations. One, let's be honest. Interrupt me when you're not able to understand, don't agree. Be interactive. We have some activities for us to experience what I'm talking about. And please excuse me in case I have given a recommendation or something that makes no sense. Please call me out on it. This has to be an honest dialogue because at the end of the day, it is us together who can start working towards change. So really, today is about changing the conversation. How many of you all believe that this slide is offensive, insensitive, rude, and should not have been there, and unexpected of a person who calls herself a disability activist? Thank you, Jasmeet. Who else thinks this? You can be honest. I won't get offended. It's meant to incite. The reason we call this a duffer to disruptor journey is the truth is when these children sit in our classroom, they're invisible. They generally are the duffer, the stupid one, the dumb one, the lazy one, who, whose potential we don't see and we keep expecting more, and then finally give up on. So today I'm going to talk to you about how do we unlock the potential of students with learning disabilities next. So how did this whole thing start for me? It started with my daughter Nitya when she was 8 years old. So you can just keep clicking. She came home at the age of 8, crying and weeping, and it was just a whole week to months where finally she collapsed and she says, "Mummy, I'm scared. I'm forgot. I'm stupid. I'm dumb, and I don't deserve to go to school. Please take me out so that a child who is more deserving can go." This is an 8-year-old who was very happy, has lots of friends, suddenly decided that um, she did not deserve to get an education because she was stupid. How's it going now? Can you go ahead? She's 18. She's headed to college. She just completed a CBSE 12th grade and did phenomenally. I'd love to share. She has an 87 point something percentage. She got a 98 in English. Everything that she was not expected to do. Every time she was judged for being stupid, dumb. Every time she feared success. Every time she thought she didn't deserve. Today has proved wrong. She's going to a college where she's going to pursue um, theater and biology because she wants to become a dancing mammologist. And at the age of 13, she came out with a comic series called Purple Flame and was selected to be a UN Generation Equality Champion and was featured in UN Women's Global Report because of the work she did for equality and really fighting so that people became aware of this disability and that not everything ended. Um, so why did she succeed? What really took her from this 8-year-old to 10 years later to a person who's so confident? This is the pillars that got us here, right? Number one, she had a really early diagnosis at grade 3, 8 age, textbook style. She went to a good school. Me as a family, we have parents, we come from a dyslexic family. I was aware of it. So we got her a diagnosis. She had a very strong remedial teacher in school, Rama Tandon, who came in. The school system started acting, hand holding her. Outside of school, she has Harveen Aluwalia, who continues to be her tutor today, who kept upskilling and learned how to teach her. She was really, really lucky and privileged to go to Vasant Valley. For us in Delhi, we know कि ये कितना बढ़िया school है क्योंकि it's an inclusive school. All the teachers are skilled, not just the special educator, not just the principal, not one or two teachers. Every teacher goes through inclusive teaching and has pedagogy. Nitya has a bio teacher who's been teaching her since 8th standard, who really developed her passion for the sciences and told her to stick on it and not worry about the grades and to build on her strength because the teacher knew the pedagogy of how to teach this child. Next. Next. Multi-sensory teaching strategies, right? That helped, including, yes, I will. Thank you, Alam. हम लोग ने accommodations दिए हैं उसको mindfully without excluding and putting her outside the class. तो हमारा instinct होता है कि जब एक बच्चा special becomes special needs का हम उसको special education program में डाल देते. This is a special child, उसको class के बाहर रखो and a special teacher or a दीदी sits with them. हमारा नित्या के साथ टीचर्स ने बहुत जल्दी कह दिया था कि इसको ये प्रोग्राम में मत डालें. Let her work with other children. हम उसको सपोर्ट करेंगे, ठीक है, एंड हम इसको अकोमोडेशंस देंगे ताकि इसके स्ट्रेंथ्स बिल्ड हो. सो इस she didn't get a scribe till 9th standard क्योंकि she liked writing, coloring वगैरह. It was a part of her identity. So we continued doing that. Building support systems. Sorry, just go back. Building support systems ये बहुत जरूरी था. सिर्फ स्कूल में नहीं, बट फ्रेंड्स, उसके फ्रेंड्स, मेरे फ्रेंड्स, मेरे हस्बैंड के फ्रेंड्स, families, parents, teachers, and Nitya herself. She became her own support system, learned how to be independent. कभी भी इसने नहीं सोचा कि मैं ये नहीं कर सकती. Neha is one of the people in our tribe who has helped create that support system and confidence for us. Leveraging technology, वो हम हमेशा यूज करते हैं, बट बहुत जरूरी है कि विदाउट आस्किंग फॉर सपोर्ट व्हेन वी नीडेड इट, हम लोग ये कुछ नहीं कर पाते. अगर कोई नहीं कर पा रहा है, हमने ये कभी नहीं कहा कि क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे. हमने हमेशा समझाया कि यू शुड डू इट. कैसे करें, कैसे हम लोग साथ में काम करें. नेक्स्ट. बट नित्या इज नॉट अलोन, अकेली नहीं है. देयर आर 75 मिलियन ऐसे यंग पीपल बिटवीन द एजेस ऑफ 8 and 25. मतलब 7.5 करोड़ ऐसे बच्चे हैं. एंड ये जो आप फोटोज देख रहे हैं, ये हर ऐसा इंडियन है जो जिसकी लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी है. आप पीछे डॉक्टर है, टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट है, आईपीएस ऑफिसर है, एक इक्वेस्ट्रियन है, एक टेक गुरु है, एक ऑक्सफोर्ड का ग्रेजुएट है हु इज नाउ teaching as an educator. So the community and the potential of these children are endless, right? Next. And how does this happen to India, right? Our implementation of India's legal and policy frameworks, both of them, make her success possible. So what is this legal and policy framework? First is the Rights of Persons with Disability Act, 2016. 21 disabilities are recognized in our country, not the 7 as in 95, 21. So I would suggest आप लोग ये act पढ़ें. इसमें SLD is one of the disabilities, and more importantly, this act defines what inclusive education is. A system of education where students with and without disabilities learn together, and the system of teaching and learning is adapted to meet the learning needs of different types of students. This is important. ये नहीं है कि बच्चा सेम स्कूल में आ रहा है और एक रूम में पढ़ रहा है, दूसरा दूसरे रूम में पढ़ रहा है. साथ में पढ़ रहे हैं, साथ में बढ़ रहे हैं, एक दूसरे की मदद कर रहे हैं. एंड जो टीचर है, ऐसे नहीं कहा गया कि स्पेशल एजुकेटर होंगे, स्पेशल एक्सपर्ट्स होंगे. ये सब साथ में कैसे एक टीचर पढ़ाएगा ताकि वो टीचर इसको अडेप्ट करें. Big challenge, but that's what the Rights of Disability Act, and that's what made Nitya's success possible. Next. National Education Policy 2020. I'm assuming all of us has worked on this. It talks about social, economical, disability and gender. Mandates full not just in school, but all the way up to college, right? So when we work with these children, जब हम इन बच्चों को पढ़ाते हैं, क्या हम ये सोचकर पढ़ाते हैं कि ठीक है किसी तरह से 8th निकाल ले, तब तक तो आरटी है, फिर देख लेंगे कुछ वोकेशनल स्किलिंग टाइप कुछ कर लेगा, किसी तरह से जिंदगी गुजर. या हम इनको ट्रेन कर रहे हैं फुल पोटेंशियल के कि कॉलेज जाएंगे, बेस्ट कॉलेज जाएंगे, बेस्ट कॉलेज में जाकर बेस्ट प्रोग्राम करके बेस्ट नौकरियां लेंगे. इट रिक्वायर्स इंक्लूसिव क्लासरूम सेटअप, टेक कैसे यूज करेंगे, बट मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली स्कूल का कल्चर. हाउ डू यू सेंसिटाइज टीचर्स, principals, administrators, counselors, students, themselves, parents, to come in and make a school inclusive. जब हमें पता चला स्कूल से कि नित्या को लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी है, टीचर्स वर वेरी सपोर्टिव. बट जब मैंने अपने फ्रेंड्स को बताया, क्लासमेट्स के पेरेंट्स को बताया, आई वाज शेम्ड. One of the best schools in Delhi, and I had a parent. It's okay. एक कोने में मेरे को लेकर गई और ऐसे मेरे से बात कर रही थी. डोंट वरी, वो डेफ कॉल में ना एक टीचर है, वो उसको ठीक कर देगी, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा, नित्या बहुत होशियार बच्ची है, निकल जाएगा, किसी को बताना मत. एंड आई वाज astounded that this mother was shaming me for this. And when I gave my child technology, whether it was an iPad or a smartphone, and asked her to text, use Google Maps, things like that, parents were out there with me. इतने छोटे बच्चे को टेक्नोलॉजी दी, आपके वजह से हमारे बच्चे भी मांग रहे हैं. And I had a rule where I said, use the technology, but my child can use it for one, sending WhatsApp messages, making sure, उसके पास लोकेशन मैपिंग है ताकि वो खोए नहीं ड्राइवर के साथ. Looking up words if she doesn't understand what people are saying. मगर अगर वो YouTube में गई फ्रेंड्स के साथ खेलने के अलावा, please take away her phone. So we use tools and technology for her to succeed without impacting her social well-being. Next. But पहले समझे, how many of you all are familiar with learning disabilities? You can raise your hand or do a thumbs up if you know what learning disabilities are. We have 37 people in the room. There's one. Who else? So a few of us are aware of it. So let us do a revision for everyone who does already know this. Next slide, please. So specific learning disabilities are made of a set of neurodiverse conditions, 4 of them. पर जो पढ़ लिख सकते हैं, डिसलेक्सिया, डिस्ग्राफिया, डिस्कैल्कुलिया, डिस्प्रैक्सिया. मैं अभी कॉमन के लिए सारों को डिसलेक्सिया बोलूंगी. मच लाइक जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना, जेरोक्स करके आ जाओ. That means photocopy करके आओ. तो मैं, when I say dyslexia or specific learning disabilities, I'm using it interchangeably. Even though it is invisible from the front, it is really the difference in the way a person's brain functions, processes and learns information. ये बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि हमें लगता है कि हर जन एक तरीके से सोचता है, समझता है, बट एक्चुअली हर बच्चे का सोचने का तरीका अलग होता है. द वे द ब्रेन मैप्स, it impacts learning outcomes, executive functioning, and social emotional well-being. Now, the second thing which you have to remember is these are individuals with average or above average IQs. Many of them are twice exceptional geniuses. It is very, very critical. क्योंकि क्या है ना, ये बच्चे बॉटम ऑफ द क्लास बैठते हैं, पढ़ लिख नहीं सकते, यार डफर है, कितना डम है, मेहनत ही नहीं करता. But to have a learning disability, it is a medical requirement to have average or above average IQ. And I'll go into that a bit. How do you diagnose it? Psychometric testing होती है, इसका IQ टेस्ट होता है. पहले आप चेक करते हैं eyes and nose, eyes and hearing ठीक है. Then you check for IQ and then you do the psychometric testing. It's lifelong. You cannot be cured of dyslexia. And it's hereditary. It runs in families. अक्सर बोलते हैं ना हम लोग जब सिस्टम में होते हैं, मैडम इन लोग का कुछ नहीं है, ये भी ऐसा है, इसका बड़ा भाई भी ऐसा है, तुमको पता नहीं इसका चाचा भी ऐसा था, ये पूरी फैमिली ही ऐसी है, आप इन पर टाइम वेस्ट मत करें. That's how, because it's genetic, but you learn to succeed. Like people can wear glasses, चश्मे पहनकर you do well, वैसे you can help. And the other thing is ADHD, mental health are all parts of comorbidities that they see. How common are they? More common than we realize. 1 in 5, that means 20% of our population has a learning disability. And मेरी संस्था ने जो रिसर्च करी है, हमें लगता है कि अगले 5 साल में जो नौकरी ढूंढेंगे उसमें से 1 in 3 will have a learning disability. Next. Any questions on this so far? Please type, or you can just stop me and ask. So dyslexia
I can
struggles
see
with language.
Deepti's raised her hand. Deepti, you have a question? दीप्ति, आपने हाथ खड़ा किया था, आपका सवाल है क्या? No, I don't think she is on mute. Maybe by mistake. Yeah, we can continue.
Okay, so how many of you can read what is on the screen? Do a thumbs up if you can. You can read everything that's on the screen. For how many people this is not moving or you can see the clear letters? No, I can't read. This is how a child with learning disability sees or with dyslexia sees language, right? It's the most common of all disabilities. It impacts the ability to read, write, comprehend, because mirror, the letters will be mirrored. They will see movement, they will see dancing figures. Um, so it's really, really hard. Next. Yes, Neetu, you have a question. And mirroring doesn't have to happen only alphabetically, right? Mirroring can also be word wise. So saw, SAW can become was. And sentences can also get mirrored. I came today. So these are things, numbers, yes, correct. Numbers also get mixed up. So that's dyslexia. Next.
नीतू जी, आपने हैंड रेज किया है, कोई सवाल है आपका?
सर सर मेरा सवाल है, जैसे मैंने ना अभी मेरे बेटे को ऑटिज्म है, तो मैंने अभी 46 की एज में स्पेशल एजुकेशन किया है, लेकिन एज की वजह से, और मुझे मालूम है कि मैं अपने बच्चे के साथ और बच्चों को भी देख सकती हूँ, लेकिन एज की वजह से मेरे पास कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं है। और दूसरी चीज सर, कि मेरा बेटा है, वो मतलब उसके पास वर्ड्स हैं, लेकिन ऑटिज्म की वजह से एक्सप्रेशन नहीं है। तो कहीं भी उसको किसी भी स्कूल में भेजती हूँ ना, तो उससे सामने वाला यही एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा है, स्पेशल एजुकेटर भी, कि हम कुछ पूछ रहे, ये जवाब नहीं दे रहा। तो मतलब बड़ा चैलेंजिंग हो जाता है सर। तो कैसे इस चीज से मैं उबरूं? मैं कितना भी बताती हूँ कि नहीं मैम ये सारी बातें समझता है, जब बिठा के उसे करवाएंगे तो वो सब कर सकता है, लेकिन हर जगह मैंने उसे कंप्यूटर क्लास में भेजा, डांस क्लास में भेजा, हर जगह उससे यही एक्सपेक्ट किया जा रहा है। और नॉर्थ दिल्ली में सर कहीं पे भी वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग सेंटर नहीं है। बच्चा 16 ईयर्स का है। तो मैं सर बहुत परेशान हूँ कि स्पेशल एजुकेशन करके भी मैं अपने बच्चे के लिए कुछ नहीं कर पा रही।
मैम, हम लोग आपके बच्चे का केस अलग से बात कर सकते हैं। यू कैन कनेक्ट विथ मी ऑफलाइन।
ओके मैम।
ऑल्सो
इसके बहुत वजह हो सकते हैं, आई थिंक।
हमने हमने Q&A के लिए एक अलग सेक्शन रखा है। अगर इन स्लाइड से, इन डिस्कशंस के बीच में कोई क्वेश्चन है आपका तो आप प्लीज पूछिए, बट अगर कोई और सवाल है तो
ओके सर,
हम बिल्कुल
समझ गई
डिस्कस
सर मैं।
करेंगे उसकी। थैंक यू नीति जी।
जी जी सर, ओके ओके सर, थैंक यू सर।
Okay, let's move to the next. I need a volunteer for this. Okay, maybe all of us can do this and आप लोग unmute करके जवाब दीजिएगा. The instruction is read the passage clearly. I will give you 1 minute to read it. You can take notes. Don't copy the whole paragraph. Just take notes. And most importantly, once you read the passage, I will then ask you lots of questions on it, basis which we will decide whether आप क्रिएट नेट के नेक्स्ट प्रोग्राम में पार्टिसिपेट कर सकते हैं कि नहीं। ठीक है ना? वेरी क्रिटिकल दिस असेसमेंट इज। ओके, तो लेट्स मूव।
Can we give them 10-20 seconds to just go grab pen and paper and come?
यस,
Yeah,
प्लीज
thank
डू।
you.
प्लीज पिक अप योर पेन, पेंसिल, whatever, a piece of paper. But rules easy है। You have to read the passage carefully, take whatever notes you want, and you will be assessed on the answers. Those of you who don't participate, we will and will not participate correctly, will be asked, cannot participate in the next Create Net education program.
Okay, shall we go next?
Okay, your time starts now. You can go to the next. 20 seconds left. Ten seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. Time up. Pens down. Okay, next. So now I have to ask you answers. Next. Chatbot may please answer करें. How many gubus of foosballs are there? Chatbot में डालें या verbally answer करें? How many gubus of foosball are there?
No idea.
No idea. Why did you not read? भाई उत्सव, I have actually created a problem for you. आपके पास कोई भी participate नहीं करेगा next time. What lepis, mushos? What are leplis, mushos, and fushos?
Because there are lots of spelling errors and we can't read, that is why.
Even you battle the foosballs that Tuvio in or Oni of the Pern, they will now what? I don't think there are any spelling errors. How can you give me a foosball that contours lipples? Can anybody answer these questions? No, right? They're very difficult. If I had given you more time, do you think you could have answered them? Raise your hand if you think you could answer with more time.
No, ma'am, we can't.
Why? It's in English. The script is in English. What makes it difficult?
New words, I think.
Difficulty in reading.
Why is it difficult to read? Not the English we know, the words. What about grammar? Do you understand the grammar? Do you understand the rules of the language? No, right?
So wherever it is
cannot
similar to
connect, we
English,
cannot connect with word because we don't know what are the meaning of these things. Lapis, moshos,
Correct.
fusos.
Because I am telling you that this is in English. We assume it's in English. They are small sentences. The letters are known to us. The grammar, it's a comma, it's a full stop, it's a question mark. These are all familiar with us. Yet, you can't understand the paragraph because what you are seeing is not what your brain is supposed to see or used to seeing. And me as a trainer saying, यार इंग्लिश में ही है, पता नहीं कैसे लोग हैं, समझ में ही नहीं आता है, इतना नहीं समझेंगे तो मैं बाकी प्रेजेंटेशन क्यों करूं? This is what happens to a person with learning disability. You assume कि जो आपने कहा है, लिखा है, वो सब लोग सेम तरीके से प्रोसेस कर रहे हैं, सब लोग सेम तरीके से सोच रहे हैं. They all understand that these are the rules of the game. But क्योंकि दिमाग अलग से चलता है, उनका दिमाग इसमें भी अलग से चल रहा है. None of this. The reason you failed in this exercise has nothing to do with your intelligence, nothing to do with your commitment, nothing to do with your effort. It just is that the exercise requires you to process information in a way that you have no idea how to do. This is what happens to a child with learning disability. Next. So tell us your experience. Tell me. The last part. Do you know of any students in your class or you've come across in your life जहां पर ये बच्चे के साथ सेम चीज हो रही है कि आप उससे बात कर रहे हैं, वो आपको शक्ल एकदम ब्लैंक से देखता है कि भाई आप बोल क्या रहे हैं, एंड आप कितनी भी कोशिश कर लो, बेस्ट पेडागोजी कर लो, बेस्ट टूल्स दे दो, उनको समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा है, ना आपको लग रहा है हे भगवान ये बच्चा कोई कोशिश ही नहीं कर रहा. मन बुद्धि. Just so dumb. What a duffer, right? And this is one reason why the child may be struggling and not being able to answer, right? So next. And I also want you to reflect कि मैंने आपको ये एक exercise दी. Supposing I gave you up the assessment mandate, right? What if I said कि अगर आप ये पास नहीं करेंगे मैं आपको आपके एम्प्लॉयर को बताकर आपको नौकरी से निकलवा दूंगा. How anxious would you feel? Right? Versus this just being one other exercise in a presentation that you all are doing. The stress on the assessment adds to the anxiety. Now let's look at dyscalculia. Dyscalculia struggle with math. हमने सबने FLN data देखा है. Most people cannot do math in our country. This is not that. It's 5% of the population who cannot understand concepts of 2D math. How many of you all have been to a safari or a forest or seen an animal hunt? It could be a bird picking up a worm. It could be a tiger chasing a lion, a tiger chasing a deer for a hunt. Has anybody experienced this? A cat chasing a mouse. Correct? We've all seen it. How many have seen that animal sit and do mathematical calculations? Saying, do you think the tiger is sitting there and saying, यार मैं अभी क्या है ना मैं झाड़ के पीछे खड़ा हूँ, वो डियर जो है मेरे से 100 किलोमीटर आगे है, 100 मीटर आगे है, और अभी विंड की स्पीड ये है, एंड जब मैं भागूंगा ना तो मेरे नीचे फ्लोर पे फ्रिक्शन इतना होगा, इसीलिए मैं भागूंगा, एंड देन एक्चुअली पत्ते भी हैं तो साउंड विल ट्रेवल, एंड फिर मैं भागूंगा, फिर वो डियर भागेगी, एंड वो डियर इतने कवर्चर पे भागेगी तो मैं उसके पीछे भागूंगा, तो मुझे भी भागना पड़ेगा, फिर मैं उसको मारूंगा. कभी हुआ है लाइफ में? नहीं ना. No mathematical test understanding required. But the lion knows how fast, or the tiger knows how fast to run. And the deer also knows how to fast to run. The deer also knows which way to run. The tiger also knows which way to run and where to hide and where to jump from. Why? Because instinctively we know numeracy and math. But when asked to explain this, we fail. So ability to do maths, very different from understanding mathematical concepts, right? So you can still be a scientist, physicist, without being able to process math. Now, I want you to bring your attention to 4 plus 5 is equal to 6. What do you think has happened there? Why do you think that child has made that mistake?
4,
A
5, 6.
child might have thought after 5, 6 would come, as after
That's
4,
one.
5 would have come.
What else? Sequencing. Yeah. What else could be going on? Plus has no meaning, so they're doing sequencing, does not understand. Yes. Is that a 6 or a 9? This could be a 9, yes. And the child has flipped it. कई बार आप लोग ने देखा होगा फ्रैक्शंस पे, राइट, कि पूरी कैलकुलेशंस ठीक करी एंड देन एंड में उन्होंने उल्टा कर दिया फ्रैक्शन, लाइक यार कितना केयरलेस है, थोड़ा सा ध्यान रख लेता मार्क्स मिल जाते. And that is what dyscalculia is, right? How do you struggle with this? But now you have to remember, what does that impact a person's ability to process information? If I tell you some of the world's best architects who are required to do measurements are dyslexic or has dyscalculia, so can't do the maths and can't do conversion, what does that mean? So if you physically give them two things that weigh differently, they'll know what is heavier. If you show them what is big and small, they will know. But if you ask them by how much, they may not know. They can't see it. And more importantly, time blindness. They can't read time. They don't understand. They can't convert kilometer into meter, inches into centimeters. They just cannot do it. Because you have taken a nature's concept of what mathematical abilities are or analytical abilities are, and convert it into 2D, which does not exist in nature. Right. Next. Next. Last is dysgraphia struggles with writing. But it's more than writing, right? All our kids have bad language, bad handwriting. Hota hai bacche. But it is more than that. It's the ability to put your thoughts down on paper, to organize it and write it. How many, okay, new exercise. Write, take a piece of pen and paper and write the spelling of the word mat. Okay, done? We have lots of smart people in the room, teachers, educators. Can we spell the word mat? Yes. Now, tell me, Matt, how many steps did you all take? Can I get a volunteer to answer that? How many steps did it take you to write Matt? Not a difficult yaar, aap log teachers ho. None. 2 steps. Tell me what are the 2 steps?
Ma'am, 3 steps.
Okay, what are the 3 steps?
As I'm a primary teacher, so I would like to say smirk at.
Okay. तो लिखा कैसे? More at तो बोल दिया, सोचा. Where is the step of writing?
For the child.
So, neurologically, thank you for that. Neurologically, it takes close to 7 steps to process information and put it on paper. First, you hear mat. Then you decode it. Ma actor. Then you think, okay, ma means M, a means A and not E, T, ta means T. Correct? Then you send a signal to your hand and say, okay, bhai, you have to write this. Then you have to remember what it looks like visually to be able to write it. Then you decode it. Correct? You have to
Yes,
remember
ma'am.
to put ma at a back and not make it ta ma or a ma ta or a ta ma, right? You have to decode it
But
back
they will.
and then you write 7 steps that the brain and neurological system needs to take to write a simple word like mat. For people like us, the typical mind, you build muscle memory to actually write it down. For people with dysgraphia, somewhere the circuit gets lost. And people may have a problem in hearing and putting. They could have problem in decoding, encoding. They could have problems in writing, remember, recall, right? And all of those things struggle. Now, how many, we all use smartphones. जब टैब्स बहुत ज्यादा खुल जाते हैं, फोन स्लो हो जाता है, लैपटॉप स्लो हो जाता है. क्यों होता है? क्योंकि सडनली मेमोरी इज गेटिंग बिल्ट ना. इट्स नॉट कि मेमोरी कम है, इट्स प्रोसेसिंग टू मच इंफॉर्मेशन एंड कंफ्यूज हो रहा है. So this is the same thing with these children. Their processing speed becomes lower, and somewhere in this process, the circuit is broken. So when you type, you reduce these number of steps because the keyboard already has the letters written. So I don't need to remember what eh looks like. I know E and I know what E looks like. It's already there. I type. Right? So next. Are we clear? So now you understand what it means for academic impact of dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia. But does that impact end there? It doesn't. Next. Sorry, Utsav, I think the presentation goes. So I want you to look at this video and remember that SLD is not just about learning. It's about the whole child's entire life. Please play. उसको क्लिक कर दो, वीडियो होगा.
So I'm clicking it, but it's not
It's
working.
not working.
Yeah.
Okay. I think transfer में कुछ हो गया. Okay. How many of you all have had a child who said, मम्मी मेरे पेट में बहुत दर्द हो रहा है, आज मैं स्कूल नहीं जा सकता. मम्मी मेरे पेट में बहुत दर्द हो रहा है, सर में नहीं पेट में दर्द. ओ एक्चुअली मम्मी क्या है ना, मैं बहुत थक गया हूँ. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू ऑल हैव हैड दोस स्टूडेंट्स हु यू से, यार इसको एक पेज दे दो पढ़ने के लिए, एंड पेज दे दो पढ़ने के लिए, एंड इसकी नानी दादी सब याद आ जाती है 1 घंटे में, मतलब एक पेज पढ़ा और सो गई. और अभी देखो, अभी मैं म्यूजिक बजाऊंगी 3 घंटे डांस करेगी. We've had those children, right? You had those children on test days, so anxious, have gone to school, prepared, and then tuck, forgotten every single thing, and you come back and say, bhai, kya hua? And then you have had those children who say, आज क्या इंग्लिश का टेस्ट, मुझे तो लगा हिंदी का टेस्ट था. भूल गए, टेक्स्ट बुक भूल गए, नोटबुक भूल गए, एग्जाम का डेट भूल गए, होमवर्क सबमिट करना भूल गए. So these are not things that the child is careless. The anxiety is so high because somewhere something is off, right? So what is off? How does this impact a child completely? Next. Poor esteem. I'm sorry about the formatting. I think ये कुछ transfer में problem हुआ. Poor self-esteem. Imagine आपको मैं हमेशा बोलती जाऊं कि आप स्टूपिड हो, आप कोशिश नहीं कर रहे हो, आपको कोशिश और करनी चाहिए, लाइक, एंड द चाइल्ड इज ट्राइंग. जैसे गूस बॉल का एक्सरसाइज. अब समझिए, जब आप पढ़ रहे थे, क्या मैं अगर आप लोग को कहती कैसे टीचर बने, पता नहीं, इतना बेसिक नहीं पढ़ सकते, अंग्रेजी में तो लिखा है इतने बेसिक वर्ड्स है, आ ई तो है, आपको कैसे लगता वो 30 seconds? हाउ वुड यू फील अबाउट इट? वर्सेस अ चाइल्ड हु फील्स दिस एवरी सेकंड. पोर सेल्फ एस्टीम. सेकंड, यू विल सी कि ये बच्चों में ओरल और रिटन में बहुत बहुत अंतर है. आपका कंप्लेंट होगा कि जब मैं पूछती हूँ तो क्या क्या जवाब, वाह वाह क्या जवाब देता है, बट नोटबुक्स देखो कितना आलसी है, कुछ भी लिखता नहीं है. और ऐसे बोलो तो हमेशा इतने सॉल्यूशंस आता है. सो आई थिंक दैट्स द सेकंड. थर्ड, memory challenges. Can easily forget the task. So careless never follows instructions. 3 चीजें बोलो और भूल जाता है. Again, why is he not being able to? Because remember, slow processing. Good morning, children. Get up, sit down, remove your geography book, open to page 30. We will read chapter 7, paragraph 4. Start reading. Ramu, get up. Chotu, can you start reading? Child confused. The child is still at the morning and trying to figure out what was the instruction after that, because they are slower at processing. Also, we don't realize is they're oversensitive to stimulation. They get, right now, as we are in this room, आप लोग के पास फोन होगा, कोई व्हाट्सएप मैसेज भेज रहा है, कोई चैट कर रहा है, किसी के रूम में पंखा चल रहा है, कोई रूम में से आपका कुछ सामान लिया, बाहर ट्रैफिक होगा, आवाज होगी. बट आई एम गोइंग टू बी वेरी वेरी अजम्पशस एंड से आप लोग अच्छे पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, एंड आप मेरी बात फुल कंसंट्रेशन में सुन रहे हैं. हर बात जो मैं कह रही हूँ आप सुन रहे हो, और बाकी सब डिस्ट्रैक्शंस आपने ब्लॉक आउट करनी. कैसे कर सकते हैं आप और मैं ये कैसे कर सकते हैं? क्योंकि हमारी ट्रेनिंग है कि ओवर स्टिम्युलेशन, हमें पता है कि क्या हमें ब्लॉक करना है. ये बच्चे क्योंकि इनका ब्रेन सब कुछ प्रोसेस कर रहा है, टक टक इनका मतलब प्रोसेसर ऑन है, ऑन है, ऑन है, ऑन है, ऑन है. तो जब तक उनको रियलाइज करते हैं अरे ये तो पंखे की आवाज थी, टीचर की आवाज नहीं थी, कंफ्यूज हो गए, टीचर तो आगे चली गई, पंखा चलता रहा. Right? And difficulties in planning, time blindness, don't know today, tomorrow. We often hear this, ma'am, I came tomorrow. And हमें लगता है ये बच्चे को इंग्लिश नहीं समझ में आती. I will do yesterday, ma'am. It's not that they don't have language. They don't understand today, tomorrow, yesterday, days of the week, months. You tell them complete a task in 5 minutes, they don't understand what 5 minutes mean. Take a step back. No, stand 3 feet back. What is 3 feet back? It doesn't matter. So you have to be specific for them. Okay? Is this clear? This is very, very important that it is not just about language, but it is brain processing, that the same neurological pathways actually addresses other issues in the person then. Right? Next. So what are we remembering? Remember 3 degrees: academics, emotional well-being. This child can be depressed, can be really tired, exhausted, low self-esteem, and life skills. Life skills is executive functioning. Bad at, shoelaces nahi बांध पाएगा, belt खुली होगी, buttons off होंगे, tends to not be independent, is always forgetful, those kind of things. हमें क्या लगता है, this child who's not performing well, हमें ये लगता है कि ये 3 चीजें इंटरकनेक्टेड नहीं है, क्योंकि ये बच्चा केयरलेस है, हमेशा स्ट्रेस रहेगा, एंड ऑफ कोर्स क्योंकि वो केयरलेस है तो पढ़ाई में कैसे अच्छा होगा, थोड़ा सा मेहनत करेगा, ऑर्गेनाइज करेगा तो कर ही लेगा. इट इज द रूल ऑफ इंडियन पेरेंटिंग टू सक्सीड, एंड आई थिंक दैट्स व्हाट वी नीड टू sort of remember. Also remember, all of us in our life have been impacted in 1 or 2 of these categories at some point, maybe all 3. Sometimes with 2 together, right? Exam time, high levels of anxiety, high level of bad performance. 9, 10th, 11th, 12th में ये बहुत होता है. Stress. Does that mean the child has a learning disability? No. It is when it's all 3, all the time, consistently, कि आपको लगेगा कि ये बच्चे को लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी है, एंड ये बच्चा सच्ची में कुछ और हो रहा है. राइट? सो ये हो गया explanation of why we think the child is a duffer. Why the disruptor? Let's move. Okay, I'm going to do one more exercise. I need a volunteer for this. Yes, carelessness is also part of learning disability, right? You'll think a child is careless because they've forgotten or not completing notebooks, even though they know content, or has done that 6 and 9. Or spellings make, silly mistakes banana. Can I get a volunteer for this activity? I promise it'll be fun for everyone. Go ahead, Vinita. So you have 10 seconds. You have to read out the color and not the word. Okay? I'm going to time you and see how long you take. Utsav, you are supposed to do click, click, click as she reads. Okay? Let's start.
Purple, black, red,
Click.
yellow, blue, black, red, red, green, black, yellow, purple.
Easy, difficult, took 30 seconds. Now, I will ask you to read the word and ignore the color.
Okay. Now I read? Okay.
Yeah, let's start.
Green,
no, go back.
yellow.
Utsav. No. Utsav, go back.
Yeah.
Go back. And now I'm asking you to read the word and not the color. Just give me 1 second. I need to reset the time. Start. Huh.
Green, yellow, blue. I can't see the yellow one. Then change orange, red, orange, purple, blue, yellow. I can't read yellow.
Okay. 13 seconds. 30 seconds for the previous time and 13 seconds for now. Why was this different? Just hold that thought, and I'm going to now make it more complicated. You are to read any word that has a small letter, starting with a small letter. Tell me the color of it. Otherwise, tell me the word. Okay? A word that starts with a small alphabet. Tell me the color. Otherwise, read the word. Okay, let's go. So let's go next.
Green, blue.
Okay. What about the Beachka? I gave you instructions. Small letter, read the color. No letter, read the word. lowercase letter. Okay. Vinita, आप mute पे हैं.
Sorry. So, purple
If the
and
word
red.
starts with a small letter, lowercase letter, we use
Green
Green.
and blue.
Blue.
If a color doesn't start with a small letter, you have to read the word.
Yellow.
Yeah.
Next.
Black, orange, red.
No. Next.
Orange, red and purple.
Red, आपको word read करना था. Next. So, okay, is it easy or difficult?
Difficult.
Do you know words? Are any of these words not known to you? You know, why is it too difficult, right? You know the words, you know the colors, you know lowercase, you know uppercase. I gave you clear instructions. I made you do a simple exercise pehle. Everything, right? 6 things we did. Why is this difficult? क्योंकि
So many
हमें layers में
instructions
process
are
करना है इसको. हमें ध्यान रखना है word क्या है, upper है, lower है, color भी देखना है, text भी देखना है. And हमारा brain traffic jammed. Because ये जो instructions मैंने आपको दिए हैं, ये instructions ordinary से बाहर है. हमें सिखाया जाता है सब कुछ निकालो, सिर्फ अक्षरों पे ध्यान दो, phonics पे ध्यान दो. We see world in 2D. We are not paying attention to the color, to the font, to the alphabet type, none of this. But it's all the layers of information we need to process. Thank you, Vinita ji, for being a sport. And these individuals, for them, you are processing everything. And this is slowing you down. This had nothing to do with your knowledge. It had nothing to do with your ability. It had nothing to do with your intelligence. It's just that you have to process information in a way where you are being forced to look at more information to do a simple task that you are not used to. So difficult. In an environment where you are put on the spot with a bunch of people जिसको आप जानते नहीं हो, अब टेंशन हो रही है पीछे में, right? So great time check, Utsav. So these are the exercises I've just made you do. Small stimulations, less than 1 to 2 minutes, to feel and realize how a dyslexic or a different mind processes. To give you the information ki bhai, the way people process information is not typical. And we must keep that in mind. Next. Let's skip. Next. So changing's mission. Why do I do all of this? Because I'm a parent. What is my organization doing? We're building equitable ecosystems to mainstream inclusion of 200 million Indians. That's 20 crore Indians with learning disabilities, unlocking their potential from classroom to pursue careers. I look at full life cycle of a child to fuel innovation and economic growth. Why economic innovation and growth? This answers the duffer to disrupt the question. Next. Why do I do this? Because they're builders of key sectors in today's economy. They contribute 30% of global economy. They're world's 40% self-made millionaire. हमने कितनी कहानियां सुनी है ना, यार पढ़ाई करके सब बर्बाद होते हैं, the dropouts make the best businesses. It's this बच्चा. Top 10 companies founded by dyslexics contributed $1 trillion to the global economy in 2020. ये सिर्फ भाई इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ नौकरी करके नहीं दे रहे, ये कंपनीज भी बना रहे हैं, हम लोग को नौकरी दे रहे हैं. We know that if you include them, GDP will increase by 1.2%. And guess what? Top Fortune 500 companies are looking to hire them. So this is not something I as a sanstha is driving. This is what the world is looking at. Next. Just a glimpse of next. How does it do it? It powers our life. Everything from the phone to the light bulb to the TV, they are all inventions of people with learning disabilities. Next. They really drive our imagination. People who can't read and write make the best authors, actors, directors, musicians. Next. Next. They generate employment. These are all companies founded by them. And remember, these are not just any company. These are companies that have disrupted and they're driving innovation and productivity. The child who is the duffer, lazy, bottom of your class is the child who goes into the workforce and saves millions of dollars for companies, is the top talent. There is informal data that says 25% of world's top CEOs are dyslexic. We have to figure out why is this child sitting in as a duffer at the bottom of your class when they can go out in the world and disrupt? Why are not enough of these 20% of your classroom kids getting there, and how you can do it? How we can all do it. And that's what my organization works towards. Next. And most importantly, my good health, your good health, and the ability to get treatment for some of the most common things, whether it's kidney dialysis, whether it's insulin pumps, whether it is neuropathic therapy, getting blood transfusion, getting a CT ultrasound for Down syndrome. All of us mothers, we've tested our child for ultrasound. All dyslexic inventions. I can go on and on about Nobel laureates and things. So this is not a coincidence. The reason why they are able to do it is something called dyslexic thinking. 80% of dyslexic attribute their success to this. Next. It's recognized skill. LinkedIn pay you can add. And these are the higher order thinking, right? Visualizing, innovating, communication, reasoning. Aren't we all struggling with this in our classroom? हम हमारे बच्चे को कैसे सिखाएं? बट हमें लगता है कि ये बच्चे लिख पढ़ नहीं सकते तो सोच कैसे सकेंगे भाई? वो तो बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट है. इतना ही कर ले, स्पेलिंग नहीं आती है तो कैसे सोचेगा? प्रॉब्लम कैसे सॉल्व करेगा? So this is what dyslexic thinking is. Next. And remember, this dyslexic thinking is what gives them the edge in the jobs of the future that you and me are producing our children for. Next. मैंने अभी तक आपको पास्ट के बारे में बताया. आज प्रेजेंट में these are the sectors where these kids will thrive. To thrive in these sectors, what are the subjects they need to take in school? Science, math, technology, computers. हम उनको क्या पढ़ा रहे हैं स्कूल में? PE, मीडिया स्टडीज, भाई फिजिकल एजुकेशन ले ले, म्यूजिक ले ले, डांस ले ले, होम साइंस ले ले. कहाँ ही कर लेगा ये सब? But this is where these people are succeeding. Next. And ये क्यों हो रहा है? हमारा सिस्टम आज तैयार नहीं है. पॉलिसी है, मैंडेट है. Back. Go back. And this is what I want you all to keep in mind. Only 1 in 400 schools is CWSN friendly. Less than 1% of our children are identified in the classroom. It is a failure of us as teachers to be able. Only 13% of teachers are trained. In universities, less than 40%, more than 40% of universities do not have any policies for these children. And yet globally, they make up 60% of MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Top Ivy League schools have supports for them. Next. Next. And that's what impacts the child. Their learning outcomes, they have a 35% higher chance of dropping out by class 8. They have a 46% higher chance of attempting suicide. Less than 0.26% make it to college, and less than 26% are hired and employed. This is the failure of a person, a child who can be successful and change our world, and today is just disappearing. Next. So it's our decision. We are trying to do this. Where is this child? As teachers, can we push them, continue them so that we continue losing money, learning outcomes are not met, mental health continues to get impact, or we push them so that they drive growth and reach their potential. They become the disruptors of tomorrow. Next. So how can we do it? How difficult is it? Next. First is we need to change our mindset. Everything is about supporting these special children. Let's make sure they don't fail. किसी तरह से मेरे क्लास से निकल जाए, मेरे स्कूल से निकल जाए, फिर जो होगा देखेंगे. ऐसे भी कुछ नहीं कर सकते, क्या होगा? You have to topsy-turvy this. We need to nurture what their interests and strengths are. So they have the confidence and we train them to become the workforce of the future. Like Nitya's bio teacher who said, beta, don't drop. Marks फर्क नहीं पड़ते, तुम्हारा passion तुमको आगे लेकर जाएगा. Right? Next. So 3 things you all can do. Increase their identification. Don't focus only on struggles, but also look at strengths. Start supporting and doing interventions, of course, to remediate, helping them read, write, whatever else. But also start thinking of how do you nurture their strengths? What are their strengths? And then give them career counseling so that they can go into fields that they can succeed. Don't worry about the marks. Push that system, create those dreams. And this is the pathway of a child being able to go it next. I'm sorry, I'm going to skip some of these slides for time. I apologize. We remember we have large diversity in our country. Next. But in the diversity numbers, we don't think about this group of kids that disappeared somewhere, right? We talk about equality, we need to move to equity. Give a child what they need to learn, not what we think they can learn with. Next. So some of the things that you can do, it's part of the mandates for UDL, multi-sensory work that you're doing. Are you inclusive in that? Diksha has lots of courses. Nishta has a lot of courses. This time, Parak, look at those data points on how we're doing it. When you're teaching, are you teaching the dyslexia way? Next. Train, embed not only in pre-service training, in-service training, keep upskilling yourself. Harveen ma'am was a retired school principal. At the age of 65, she learned how to teach a dyslexic child. She used interesting skills to be able to teach this child reading and writing. Today, Nitya has read 4 Shakespeare plays, performed 3 at London on the stage. And she loves Shakespeare because she learns to, there was a teacher who upskilled herself. Don't focus only on teachers. School leaders also need to be trained. Next. Create that culture, barrier free. Don't focus only on the physical stuff. Start thinking about these things. Next. But most importantly, change the conversation. It is up to us of how do we rethink diversity, different minds, and encourage that. We need to reset what inclusion means in schools. It needs to stop going from a rights, noble cause, acha hota hai, bichare, special. We really need to work towards unlocking their potential because they deserve it. They have it in them, just like every other child in your class. Don't think you can fix the system for another child and not for them. पहले majority का कर लेते, फिर इनका देखते हैं. जब आप इनका देखोगे, आप majority भी fix करोगे. ये बहुत बहुत जरूरी है. Identification, diagnosis. Talk to the parents, screen, learn how you can identify the child in your school. Learn how you can convince a parent that this is not a stigma. Learn how to create those linkages in your school कि बच्चे को कहाँ भेजेंगे. And technology is your friend. It doesn't need to be complicated technology. An alarm clock, a music playlist. I had a person who didn't understand how long it takes to take a bath. तो उसने अपने फेवरेट सॉन्ग्स का म्यूजिक प्लेलिस्ट बनाया एंड वो जब भी नहाने जाती थी वो सॉन्ग जब बदलता था एक्शन बदलती थी क्योंकि उसको समझ में नहीं आ रहा कितना टाइम लगता है. पहला सॉन्ग पानी डालो, दूसरा सॉन्ग साबुन लगाओ, तीसरा सॉन्ग स्क्रब करो, चौथा था टाइम पानी डालो, 5वां सॉन्ग बाहर निकाल कर अपने आप को पोंछो. That's how she learned. Technology, alarm clocks. Don't say you have 5 minutes. Start the alarm clock Give 5 minutes and let it ring. They will learn. Okay? Next. This is my favorite. This is tough. ये सफर बहुत है कठिन मगर ना उदास हो मेरे हम सफर साथ चलना है हमको दूर तक जाना है एक राह में चल सकते हैं हम एक साथ में. This has been the story of Nitya and mine. This has been the story of Nitya's success because we didn't do it alone. Next. So, at the end of this, the only thing I hope and pray is that you throw away the old ways of thinking, judgments, belief, and start changing that conversation for our children to succeed. And with that, I end this. I'm happy to take conversations based on availability of time. Thank you for all of you all who participated. I apologize if I was mean. It was not personal.
Thank you, Nupur ma'am. I think for me it was really an eye-opening one, much needed one, working as an educator, and I'm sure for others as well. What we'll do now is we are 15 minutes beyond the time where we wanted to start with the Q&A. But if you have a burning question, आप उसको chat box में भी डाल सकते हैं या फिर unmute करके पूछ सकते हैं. I just want to mention that हो सकता है आपके सारे सवालों के जवाब आज इस वक्त यहाँ ना मिल पाए. But we have a WhatsApp group. It is a continuous active group जहां आप ये सवाल जवाब कंटिन्यूसली कर सकते हैं एंड हम नुपुर मैम को उस पर ऐड करेंगे सो दैट यू कैन हैव दोस कन्वर्सेशंस आगे. बट हाँ, अगर आपके कोई सवाल है प्लीज गो अहेड.
I just want to bring in a logistics question. Could we please have Nupur ma'am's email ID and the phone on the group? So that will be really helpful. Thank you.
That will drop. Thank you. कोई और सवाल किसी का इसके आपके मन में हो प्लीज अनम्यूट करिए पूछिए.
Hello, good evening, ma'am. Rashmi this side. Ma'am,
Hello,
there
Rashmi.
is one question.
Yes.
In my class, he is in grade 1 and he is autistic child and he doesn't speak. Speech problem भी है उसको और hitting बहुत है. So how to control it? Can you guide me for for that?
Ma'am, I am not an expert on autism, so I wouldn't want to give you wrong advice. My suggestion would be to figure out what are his triggers, because when he's hitting, he's trying, this is a form of communication that he's trying to do to learn what this is about, and figure out a way for us to learn how he can communicate, right?
All right.
Um,
All right.
speak to the experts. There are a lot of centers that can help, or there is Action for Autism that can do it. Unfortunately, I don't know a lot about treating non-verbal autistics.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so
Oh,
much,
thank you.
ma'am, for your.
Sorry for that.
It's a question from Jasmeet asking what specific skills can be taught to all teachers that will help them work with children with SME.
Great question. You need to build 6 competencies. One is, how do I identify them? Very, very important. How do you identify, and not just in your classroom, but how do I talk to parents about it? How do I triangulate all of that bit? Second is this notion of what UDL is. It's not expensive, it's not text-based, that what most people build, but really that mindset of how do I use multisensory teaching and universal design-based concepts to learn. Third is, how do I assess? What does it take? And when I'm doing assessments, am I giving you opportunity to show your intelligence and knowledge in multiple ways? Does it have to be written with pen and paper? Or can it be done through project work? Fourth, how am I building that culture of inclusion and managing the classroom? Am I always picking on that child? Am I giving them a buddy system? Am I sort of creating a system where the child can flourish so that they get respect from teachers? And I would say last is, how do I do lesson planning and really managing my classroom in a way that changing the mindset from saying all my students and learners are the same but let me figure out किसके साथ क्या चलता है and how do I embed all of that in the learning of a day.
Ma'am, if we were to do like, all the things that you have spelled out in like 2 minutes to enable teachers to have, these skills, like, do we have workshops, like a couple of days workshop, or it is more, or so I just want to understand that.
So, Vinita, as an organization, we've been doing training with the government of India for multiple years now. We've trained over 8 lakh teachers across the country. There are multiple ways to do it. Start with the sensitization session with teachers, then go to an online sort of curriculum-based thing, and then finally move to sort of in-person, hardcore 4-day, 5-day training where you sort of learn and do these skills. It's important to remember that this works for all teachers, all students, all classes of school. I have done this training in Begusarai, Jamui with the least resources classes, as well as in schools like Vasant Samali, which is very, very high resourced. It's really about knowing how to figure out what a child clicks. The other thing, Vinita, is these trainings, Vinita ji, is that these trainings help not just students with learning disabilities, but when you teach a classroom, like everyone is dyslexic, everyone's outcomes improve.
Yeah. Thank you
And
for
we'll be happy to share some of those trainings with you.
I was just saying it's been so inspiring listening to you, and so grateful for sharing your own personal story and the body of work and the competence. It's just so heartwarming. And I'll try and
Thank you
see
so
that
much.
how possibly, like, I could spread the word. Like, I think as a society we need to have more conversation. It is not just the duty of only the schools and the teachers. It is like, as professionals, because we all have people and children around us. So how do we, because we live all of our life, many of us, that I'm not good enough syndrome, where, the reason, just because, I cannot, do say one or two few things like how it is supposed to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what we'll also do is just to, sorry, I think someone was speaking. Please go ahead.
One more question, ma'am, regarding Rashmi again here. So, ma'am, I would like to ask, apart from Prashastra, so how we can, is there any tool or is there any specific test so that we can find out the child is having SLD?
आप कौन से स्कूल में are you in a government school या आप प्राइवेट स्कूल में पढ़ाते हैं?
मैम प्राइवेट स्कूल में पढ़ाती हूँ.
Okay, so DPWD, the Department of Persons for Empowerment of Persons with Disability, they have a Gazette notification of March 24 जिसमें एक checklist दी गई है. Utsav, I can share that with you offline, जो आप टीम के साथ शेयर कर सकते हैं. वो यूज करना बड़ा आसान होता है. उसमें कुछ 14 या 16 questions हैं that you all can use to identify the children. It's pretty accurate.
All right, ma'am. Could you write the name in the chat box? It will be very helpful for us.
I will send the link so it can be shared in the group.
So that is what I was saying.
So
what
much.
I'll do is, I have two major requests. Number one, please join the WhatsApp group, because that's a continuous channel for us to communicate, to ask these questions, get answers. And also whatever resources ma'am will have or we'll keep dropping it in the WhatsApp group so that you get access to all of this. And ma'am will be there in the WhatsApp group. Don't worry. Please, more questions. और सवाल हैं, लाइए, सवाल पूछिए.
Yeah, आसान नहीं है. I will admit it's not easy. It needs a lot of practice, but it works. That I can tell you from the last 10 years of journey with my daughter. It works. It works because of the teachers. अगर teachers इसमें train नहीं होती, नित्या और मैं कहीं के नहीं होते. ये मैं आपको clearly बोल देती हूँ. Nitya would have collapsed as a child in the classroom, and me as a parent would not be here today.
Ma'am, I think if there's no other question, I have a question.
Yes.
Apart from being teachers, we
Yes.
have talked a lot about what teachers should be doing. But we all over here, most of us are also parents. Can we also talk about what parent can do to support the teacher. What is parents' role in
Parents,
this?
acceptance. Good question. What's up? Accept. Notice your child. Don't judge your child. Don't be in denial. This doesn't fix itself. Be consistent and real. Don't blame your child for this. और अपने सिबलिंग्स, बच्चे की सिबलिंग्स के साथ मत करें कंपेयर. आप लोग सबने तारे जमी पे फर्स्ट पार्ट देखी होगी. उसमें पेरेंट्स बोलते मेरा बेटा ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता. राइट? वो आपको करना बहुत जरूरी है. एक्सेप्ट करें. एंड आपके अगर फ्रेंड्स के बच्चों में ये है, हाय हाय बेचारा अब उसका क्या होगा, बिल्कुल ना करें. रिमेंबर यू हैव द नॉलेज नाउ दैट ये डिसरप्टर है. तो आप अपने दोस्त खुद के बच्चे को डिसरप्टर कैसे बनाएंगे? एंड एज पेरेंट्स, इफ यू हैव अ चाइल्ड who has SLD or special needs, ask. Don't handicap your child. You are the child's biggest advocate. And know when to push your child to become independent. You will come and die. Child has to go on. नित्या के स्कूल टीचर जब वो 8th स्टैंडर्ड में थी, उसने मेरे को कहा था, मिसेस झुंझुनवाला, why are you in school talking to me about this? I said, I'm so sorry. I know it's such a pain. Like, no, the points you're making are making sense. क्यों आई? I said, मतलब तो कौन आएगा? नित्या मेरे से क्यों नहीं बात कर रही है? मैं नित्या को 2 साल से जानती हूँ. नित्या को पता है why is she not working here. And that changed. I no longer needed to advocate for Nitya. I needed to empower Nitya to advocate for herself. As a parent, that is what you do. You don't burden the child with your insecurity of the child's success. And I think that helps. Friends help. Talking about it, accepting. I think that helps. Yeah. Alam ji,
Alam.
हाँ जी. Hi Nitya ma'am, thank you so much for the beautiful session first of all, and really learned a lot. I have a question, like we have talked about so much about students. मेरा सवाल ये है कि जब यही बच्चे जो न्यूरो डाइवर्जेंट बच्चे हैं वो वर्क प्लेसेस में जाते हैं तो सेम प्रॉब्लम फिर से शुरू हो जाती है एक्सेप्टेंस की, और उनसे सेम तरह के एफिशिएंसी एक्सपेक्ट की जाती है ना. तो हम वर्क प्लेसेस को और कैसे इंक्लूसिव बना सकते हैं फॉर द न्यूरो डाइवर्जेंट पीपल?
This is a different conversation. It's a longer conversation. ये एकदम से नहीं हो पाएगा. तो maybe I can do an offline discussion on that. Workplaces में बहुत कुछ हो रहा है अभी भी. But I don't want to start abhi because that's another stream of work we do.
Yeah, and I think thank you for saying that. What we can do is a series that can again bring in the workplace aspect of that, and would again love to have you here. Any other question? Because हम धीरे धीरे closing की तरफ भी आ रहे हैं. तो अगर आपके कोई सवाल है, please feel free to come off mute, ask, या फिर आप chat box में डाल सकते हो. But please, again, a request, in the chat box, you'll find link to our WhatsApp group. You'll also find link to the feedback form. Fill it. वहाँ भी आप सवाल डाल सकते हैं, कोई और सवाल हो, so that we can again go back to Gulnana. Let her answer those asynchronously for us. Okay, I think there's no other question coming in. I was just waiting for Neha to be here. Is Neha here? Because she especially wanted to thank you. I took the opportunity, I took that opportunity of welcoming you, but she wanted to close this with a gratitude. Neha, you here?
Yes, I am still driving, but I'm going to keep my video off. But thank you, Nupur. This was, I've been really meaning to have you here and share this work and this awareness with our teachers. So thank you so much. And I think it was very interactive. You made the session very interactive. Arjun was with me and he was also acknowledging it. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for your time.
So for all of you all should know, I moved to Delhi when Nitya was 5 years old and she became, and she started school in Basant Valley. And Neha became my family. She has been part of our tribe. And Arjun is my nephew, Nitya's little brother. And it means a lot. None of this would have happened if I didn't have people like Nitya in my life, Neha in my life, and the family, whether it's uncle, auntie. And I think that's the power of friendships and acceptance. Friends that become family, that help you keep doing this day in, day out, on the good and the bad, and encourage your work even when you're being an ass. Um, and when work takes over and they drive you and they say it's okay. So thank you, Neha, for being you, and CreateNet for all the great work that you all have been doing. I hear a lot about it from, and we'd be happy to support in whatever way you're like. It's a life mission for us.
Thank you, Nupur ma'am. It was really a pleasure, and it was amazing session to have, to learn from you, and we are hoping to get you again back. But till then, please take care of yourself. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your
Thank you.
evening. But